So we finished the Maimer this week on Tuesday, which was quite an accomplishment, but it was a short one. So we're going to learn something from Levi Yitzchak, from the Rebbe's father, on Parshas Bo, and this is connected to the fact that in our parsha is the first mitzvah, which is to sanctify the new month. And there it was Chodesh Nisan. So in the book of his collected teachings, the anthology, so they put a whole section, very beautiful section, on all the months. I was learning it last night, and on Chodesh Shvat it's beautiful, and there's a sikha from the Rebbe. But there's a long sikha actually from the Rebbe about what he taught. But again, not because his father taught it. I don't know if he knew that his father had written something about it when he said the sikha. The sikha is pretty early, but it's on the minhag that we have, which actually was one of the things that the Alter Rebbe did want people to say, but we don't. Is to have the kavana of each month's permutation of Shem Hashem, of Havaya, of the Tetragrammaton, and the pasuk, or the fragment of the pasuk that we use for Chodesh Shvat, the month that we're now in, is Hey Yud Vav Hey. That's it. Hey Yud Vav Hey is the permutation, and the fragment of the pasuk is Hamer Yamirenu Vayahu. And that's one of the well-known kavanas, that you have this kavana when you say Baruch Ata Hashem Mechadesh Chodashim in the Musaf for Rosh Chodesh. So there's a list. You can get it from other Sidurim. Some of the Sidurim have it. And the Rebbe has a long sikha about this kavana, about Hamer Yamirenu V'ayahu, and he teaches what it means. And in particular, what it has to do with the month of Shvat. But we're not going to look at that because it's in Chelik 26 in Kavav, on Parshas Chukas, I think. I don't remember how we fit it in. In any case, so we're going to see a different piece, which is less timely, but is timeless. And this is the Urushami and Sanhedrin. Chapter 1, Halacha 2. You know, in the Urushami, unfortunately, people don't use page numbers, which is unfortunate because today all the Urushamis use the same page scheme. So it could have been used, and it makes it really difficult that you have to say it by chapter and Halacha. But in any case, this is related to the months because sometimes you have a 13th month. So it says, En ma'abrin hashana ba'ir Lud. Right, you work in Lod, so this is very pertinent to you. Mm-hmm. Why? Shehen gasei haruach, that they are coarse of spirit, and mi'utei haTorah, and they have little Torah. So even though there was a court in Lod, that court should not, or even, I don't know if they're not allowed, but they shouldn't incalcate the year. That's what it's called. Incalcate or incalate?
Done in Jerusalem anyway.
No, after the Churban, after the destruction of the Second Temple, it was done in different places. It was even done in Chutz La'aretz. What? Yavne and other places. So the Rebbe's father. So what do you mean with that? That's a reason not to incalcate the year. Well, add a 13th month. What kind of reason is that? So he has a very interesting ha'ara right here. So he says like this: the reason that you don't incalate the year in Lod, because they're of course spirit and have little Torah. There's another Gemara which is explained later on. It's in Psachim. It's a Perikei Halacha Gimel. In the Urushami also. The Urushami was in Eretz Yisrael, so they knew these things. So they said you shouldn't teach them Aggadah. You should not teach them the Midrash. Why shouldn't you teach them the Midrash? Same reason. They have coarse spirit and little Torah. So you understand that there's some connection between incalating the year and teaching Aggadah, teaching Midrash, teaching the metaphoric side, where everybody agrees that it's all metaphors, right? The Midrash in general is metaphoric. It's not trying to describe the reality. It's trying to interpret the text in a way that's metaphoric. So why shouldn't it? So these two things are related to their having these two qualities. V'hainu. Why? Ki inyan ibur hashana, incalating the year, adding a 13th month, is called husod ha'ibur. It's known everywhere as the secret of incalation. It's not just called the act of incalation. It's not just a technical act that the high court decides upon. To change time is to be a master of the world. In fact, that's how it's explained, that why was the first mitzvah that Moshe received to give to the Jewish people, why was it to sanctify the new month? Because it says that mitzvah is the one that places you above nature. Right? We talked about this, that space is usually static. It doesn't move very much. It does move, but it's very slow in moving, snail space. But time is constantly moving. So time is our measure of change. And to say that you are now responsible for sanctifying time, which is the basic entry point into human life, into human experience, is the experience of time. I wonder if there's, you become an ois mensch, you become less than human if you can't experience the passage of time. Imagine that there is such a psychotic problem that some people have, that they can't measure time, that they don't have any experience of time.
People sitting at home all by themselves, no one to visit.
They still feel time. No, I'm talking about something that's either organic, some problem with the brain, or something even psychologically wrong with the person, that they don't feel time. I mean, a person who doesn't feel time is like time comes and goes. So the first thing that we say, if you lose time, if you lose the experience of time, so the first thing that we're worried about is dissociative syndrome, right? That what used to be called split personality, because when the personality splits, then the time experience goes somewhere else, and you don't know about it. So experiencing time is the very basic nature of human identity. So if we're given power to sanctify time by this mitzvah, it means that this is what's making us masters of this reality. This is God's, his appointment certificate. He's appointing you now to take care of changing reality. And so because of that, the sages say about this mitzvah, man malchei rabbanan. Who are the kings of reality? The sages. Why? Because they have this mitzvah that they can sanctify time. The moment that you can sanctify the entrance into human experience, into change, that makes you a king of reality. So it's a very deep thing, and it's called, because of that, one of the reasons, this is the deep reason, it's called Soda Yibul, the secret of inhalation. It's also called the secret of inhalation because how to calculate it was always hidden. The Rambam, in his laws of Kiddush HaChodesh,
which we're learning right now,
right? So that's why I chose this. So one of the things he says in the beginning is, I can teach you all the calculations that have to do with sanctifying the new moon and the inhalation of the year, adding a 13th month and all this. I can teach it to you in 3 days. In fact, I can teach it to a young child in 3 days. But that is the revealed teachings. And the hidden teachings, which are much more complex, I can't teach to you. He says there's something hidden here. Now, is he talking about some higher mathematics? Is he talking about some other tricks, some phenomena but you have to understand that a person who could ahead of time say when the new moon is going to appear is even today considered to be a magician, because we have what we call in physics the three-body problem, and there are at least 3 bodies at play here: the Earth, the Moon, and the Sun. And because of that, there's no way to solve the equations. They're what we call underdetermined equations. So you can never solve it precisely. As you get closer to the time, you can solve it more precisely. So today we can come to a few fractions of a second. Well, not fractions, but a few seconds, I think, in determining when and where the new moon will appear in a certain looking at from a certain position on Earth. but it remains a secret, meaning there's something, always a hidden element to it. In any case, this is called the secret of the inhalation. Now the thing to know is that astronomy, which used to be called in Hebrew chokhmata techuna, astronomers were called tuchnim, is in the sfirot from wisdom and understanding. And this you don't need to know Kabbalah, you only need to know a pasuk in Devarim, right? Where is it? Where is this pasuk? In Devarim. Okay. It says, Ki hi chokhmatchem uvinatchem le'nei amim. This is your wisdom and your understanding in the face of the nations. Meaning the fact that you are able to calculate the appearance of the new moon, that is considered to be your wisdom and your understanding before the nations. Ve'amru, and they will say, this is all from Devarim. It's all from Devarim chapter 4. Ve'amru rak am chacham v'navon hagoy hagadol hazeh. Only a wise and understanding nation, this great people, meaning they're impressed by this. And what this is called, shekayal chokhmat tkufot. And this is all has to do with the inhalation of the year, because you have to know the exact times that everything happens astronomically. That's why this is called a sod. Why? So we'll see in a moment. He'll explain why. He says this is the beginning of the explanation, not the end. This is why it's called a secret. Uva Urushami besod ami lo yu zes sod ha'ibur. The pasuk in Yechezkel. This pasuk says, "Vayita yadi al neviim achuzim." My hand will be upon the prophets that prophesize falsely, shav. V'akosmim kazav, and those who do false magic, I guess. Besod ami lo yu. They will not participate in the secret of my people. And what does he mean in the secret of my people? In the Urushami it explains, the secret is the secret of the inhalation of the year. So this is all taken from, so this is all related. Right. Umibnei Yisachar yodei bina layitim. And from the tribe of Yisachar were those who understood the changing of the times.
Except in the time of Mordechai and Esther. Achashverosh asked them to work it out.
Yeah, and they said we forgot.
We're in Golos.
We can't. We're not allowed to do it in Golos. So we see from this the inhalation is called a secret. He's going to explain it a lot better. Now he's going to explain it. He says the real reason is and the reason this is called the secret is not because we're hiding some secret knowledge. We're not hermetic in the sense of these secret societies. No, because and this is the way Kabbalah needs to be learned, because people read this and they get all these crazy wild ideas. Look, there's secrets, there's this, there's that. No, it's much simpler. That Chochmah and Bina, wisdom and understanding of these two sfirot, are called Hanistarot. They're called the concealed. Where are they called the concealed? It says Haniglot, Hanistarot LaHashem Elokeinu, also in Varim, just before Azino. In Nitzavim, we read Hanistarot LaHashem Elokeinu, Ve'aniglot Lanu L'Vanenu Ad Ulam. That which is concealed, meaning which is in the mind, which is concealed, Hashem sees. And that which is revealed is for us and our children. There it's talking about sins that a person does, that a person only sins in his mind. He says, I'm going to go do Avodah Zarah, but he never actually goes. Hashem will punish him. We don't have to, we're not a thought police. We don't have to worry about what people think in their heads, because there's no way to know. It's not like in modern Israel where you can be thrown in jail because of what you think.
Ask your rabbi.
What?
Ask your rabbi.
What do you mean ask your rabbi? Yeah, my rabbi, for instance. Now, he made the mistake of actually publishing something, but what he published had nothing to do with what he thinks. But because they think they know what you think, so they try to peg it on something that you published. No connection, but said it. Well, people are not stupid. They're not going to publish something that they know. Because when you published, you already done an act, and that everybody knows. In any case, so wisdom and understanding are concealed. No one knows what's going on in another person's mind, except for God. So that's why it's called a secret. It's only between you and God. So wisdom and understanding, the intellectual sefirot, they're concealed. On the other hand, the emotional faculties and the habits, all these things, their only permanence is when they're revealed. They only have real expression when, or they don't become real until they're expressed. You have to actually use them for them to actually, you can't learn to love if you don't have an object of love. You can't love yourself, that doesn't count for anything, that's in your head. But to actually love means to be in a relationship with another person, your child, your parents, your wife, whoever it is. So that's why it's called a secret. Again, the sages use this figurate language, which to people sounds like, wow, some hermetic secret is here. Really just means that it's in the mind. וזהו שעיבור השנה מתחילים בג' ובחמש נושאים ונותנים וגומרים בשבע, ג' ה' ז' ומספר י' דהיינו חוכמה בינה. And he gives a beautiful example of this. That when they wanted to incalate the year, to add the 13th month, they started debating whether to do it or not, at least with 3 judges. Then the debate, meaning there had to be 3 to start it's like opening the quorum. So the quorum of 3 to start. Then there have to be 5 during the debate. There have to be 5 during the discussion. And finally the decision has to be accepted by at least 7 judges. So either these judges were added later, or they were there all the time, but they were dealing with something else, and then they joined them. In any case, when you add 3, 5, and 7, how much do you get? You get 15. And 15 is Yud-K, the first 2 letters of God's 4-letter name. And they, as we know, Yud is wisdom and He is understanding. These are the 2 intellectual sfirot, equal to 15. So this is a beautiful allusion to Chachma and Bina in the way that the proceedings of incalating the year have to happen in the Sanhedrin, in the High Court. How are 3, 5, and 7 related to you as a Kohen?
3, 5, 7. 3 Rebbe.
You already know, because 3, 5, and 7 are the number of words in the Birkas Kohanim. Why is a Kohen related to Chachma and Bina? How else are you related to 15, Kohen? Because the Kohen is 75, which is 5 times 15. So there's a lot of Chachma and Bina in Kehuna.
You skipped in it. Okay.
That's what we said. It's hidden. You can always say, well, I'm a genius, but you don't know. V'hainu, ki she'ar chelkei haTorah im bezun. Meaning that of all the mitzvos, when Hashem gave the Torah, when He started giving the mitzvos, the mitzvah of incalating the year, of sanctifying the new moon, everything that has to do with time, is in Chachma and Bina, as we said. It's in the intellect, relatively speaking. The rest of the Torah is in the lower sfirot, in the Zun, in Zer Anpin and Nukva, from loving kindness down to kingdom. Hanikraim niglot, and they're what we said. The rest of are the revealed, again, because these emotional and habitual traits, they have to be revealed in order to be experienced, in order to grow. Moshe katuv vaniglot lanu levaneinu, as we said, anistarot laHashem Elokeinu. The concealed is to God, and the revealed is to us and our children. Meaning that you develop these sfirot in the psyche by your relationship with your children. La'asot et kol divrei haTorah azot, to do everything that's in this Torah. So that includes everything except for the secret of incalation. Shetorah megiah bevav keshem v'niglot, because the purpose of the Torah is to change the midos, right? That's the purpose of the Torah, is to change our emotional and habitual traits. Mashen ken chokhmah bebinah, but wisdom and understanding, which again is what the incalation of the year is, hem anistarot laHashem Elokeinu. That is what is concealed for Hashem, our God. Baza v'torah sheba'al peh. Sorry, hinei chelek hanigle de Torah megia bazun. So the way to understand this is that within the Torah, the revealed Torah, because we're going to read this Shabbos, it's the first mitzvah. Nonetheless, even though it's the first thing, it's concealed. we're saying that the beginning of God's revelation of the mitzvot is a concealed mitzvah, is a mitzvah that has to do with the secrets, with the wisdom and understanding.
All mitzvahs have a secret inside.
Okay, have it inside them. But this one, its whole nature is something that's not revealed, and it's only given to Beis Din. It's only given to the court. It's very interesting that Moshe talked to the entire Jewish people, and right away he says, "Achodesh hazeh lachem rosh chodeshim," and from this we learn a lot of laws about sanctifying the new moon, deciding on the new moon. And yet this is not a mitzvah that's given to the general population. You and I don't have to do this. Only the court has to do this. So it's interesting that the first mitzvah is very public in a certain sense. Everybody, it's the first thing that Moshe told us is a mitzvah. And yet, even though it's said in a revealed way, it was really from the very beginning addressed to a small part of the people, only those that were worthy of being judges. So what we have here is that within the revealed, the psukim, the verses that we'll read on Shabbos, the very beginning is concealed. The very beginning is sod. Torah shebichtav dechelek hanigle beza, v'Torah sheba'al dechelek hanigle b'malchut. And the rest of the Torah, the written part of the revealed tradition, all the psukim in the Torah, all the verses in the Torah, from beginning from Bereshis all the way to Le'inei Kol Yisrael, that is what we call the revealed tradition of the written Torah. And then there's the revealed tradition of the oral Torah. So the revealed tradition of the written Torah, that's in Zah, that's in the small countenance, in Zer and Pin. And the concealed tradition is in the Malchus, in the kingdom. But the entire concealed tradition, as we call it, that's in Chochmah and Bina, that's in wisdom and understanding, and that which is concealed for Hashem our God. Because that which is concealed in the Torah is really what we mean by that which is hidden, meaning it's in the wisdom and understanding. Okay? So this is as far as we came today. It's kind of short. We have your tires to think.
Huh?
We have your tires to think.
Yeah.